So the night Leicester won the league, I ran to my mother screaming like, we won, we won. And she was like, what do you mean by we?
It was us at the top, and us including me. I was like, wow, we've done it. But did they see it like that? They still saw me as an outsider. I didn't personally know any Leicester fans or footballers, and I never dreamt I'd be a supporter when I came here. But now I'm feeling at home. I'm home, and I've come through all my atrocities.
I came to the UK in 2015 and I was 29 at the time, and I'm originally from Sudan. The first city I stayed at was London. I just stayed for a couple of days, and then we were moved with my family to Cardiff. The hostel that we were supposed to stay at, we met the manager in the first day, and he told us that they will have to separate us because they don't have enough rooms in one place to put us all together. Me and my mother, we didn't want that because we had younger siblings. The youngest one is 10, and then there is a 16-year-old girl. But the manager told us if we don't like the arrangement that he have for us, we will have to go back to where we come from. It was a shock for me actually because I didn't expect him to say that, and my mom didn't know what to say, and she almost cried. She said, "Those are my children. I can't leave them alone." And I told him, "We're fine with if you could find just one room for all my mom and my siblings to stay together, and then for me, since I'm over 18, I can stay somewhere else. That will be fine with us." Anyways, after much debate, he finally gave us 2 rooms next to each other in the same house. So we were thankful. The house that we stayed at, the house condition wasn't really good, but we didn't care about since we could finally stay together.
We stayed in Cardiff when we came to the UK, but we wasn't sure how long we would stay. For the first few days were scary. They wanted us to separate, but we wanted to stay together as a family. We wanted to play and keep each other safe. For now, all we could do is pray. We stayed in Cardiff when we came to the UK, but we wasn't sure how long we would stay.
In Cardiff, because again, we weren't sure what will be the arrangement for us if we were going to stay in Cardiff or be moved somewhere else. We couldn't enroll my younger siblings into school. And that was especially difficult for my younger sister, who was 10 at the time, because she would wake up every morning basically looking from the windows at the kids going to school. And she would ask when can I go to school? And I would say soon or anything just to change the subject. And I think because she's the youngest, I feel like she's my daughter, and I just couldn't know how to deal with her. She became very angry. She would get angry over small things, and I think us moving here affected her the most. And on the other hand, I had my brother who became very quiet, and I just didn't know how to reach out to him.
Being alone, sometimes it just helps, but sometimes I just want to see my family. But every time I try to talk to them, the words never come out, so I keep it all in. It's easier to be by myself. I've got words that I need to say to you. I really need to speak, but the words just don't come out. So being alone right now is what I'm all about.
We came to Leicester in November 2015, and the first thing I remember, the weather was warmer compared to Cardiff, so it was really good for us. But we stayed all together. Thankfully, we were as well. They told us that we were all going to stay together, and I was very thankful because, again, I thought because I'm over 18, they will have to ask me to go somewhere else. But we came and we stayed all together, so it was all good. Then, honestly, we didn't leave the house for a week or so because, again, the community was very different and was very new to us, and we were very worried to go outside. We didn't know who we will meet or how we will react to them or communicate with them. And then there was the language problem. I have been learning English for a long time, but still, Going out to the shop, I couldn't communicate with people sometimes because I couldn't understand what they were saying. And it was really difficult. I felt stupid for not being able to communicate with them. One of the first things I tried here in Leicester was riding a bike. It might sound like a silly thing to say, and people laugh at me when I say it, but I just don't remember that I ever rode a bike before, and it's not part of our culture. You don't see people riding bike or using bike actually as a transportation. The night Leicester won the league, I ran to my mother screaming like, "We won, we won." And I was really excited and happy, and she didn't know what I was talking about. And she asked me, when I told her about it, she was surprised, first because I don't really watch football, I'm not a huge fan, but second because I said we, and she was like, "What do you mean by we?" And I got surprised as well. I was surprised because I used we, and I felt like I won the league as well with them, so I felt like I am happy as much as how happy Leicester people are. And I think it's part because I felt so welcoming by people here. The first thing I thought about after I got my status is basically how can I repay the community. People in Leicester were very nice to us, all of them. They did everything they could actually to help whenever they can. So I wanted to thank them, to find a way just to repay the community and to thank them, basically.
I'm 23 years Syrian young man who entered the UK in 2015. I'm gonna start my story in the best year of my life, which was the only year that I had in the Syrian university. Why is it the best year of my life? First, because I was studying my dream study, which was architecture. I knew that it's my things since I was 7th grade when I was asked to draw in class art. I draw at that time a simple lines which somehow I thought it's going to be a plan for a house. But later on when I show it to my father who is a civil engineering, he somehow transformed it into a villa, and later on it became a real existing building. That's when I realized this is the thing that I'm going to do in the future.
When I first came here, I was glad to get away. For all those madness, for all those days, I didn't know when it would never end. I tried to convince myself it was all a pretend, but it came to me that it was not a pretend. Families were getting killed like it was a joke. Now I would never ever see my old folks.
Now I'm so happy just to be away. The life that I was living was bad. I'm getting my life back on track and I'm happy with the life I'm living now. Trying not to think about the life that was left in the past, just making the most of the life I'm living in the future. And maybe one day, the homeland that was left behind, we might see again.
I used to hang out with my friend and more open because the lifestyle of the student in the university are totally different from a student in the school. That year the protesting was enrolling, so somehow we all had two lifestyles. The one was on the daytime, which in the uni or the job, and the other one which was in secret, because when you go to protesting, we used to hide our identity. So it was a bit of excitement all the time that we're trying to hide from the regime or whatever they're gonna do against us. At the beginning, they were only using against us the tear gases and rubber bullets. But the dangerous part of it that they used to took enormous numbers of young men to detentions, which wasn't the best place. It was much worse than Guantanamo itself. They used to give back, return the dead bodies who entered the detention full healthy and retain them with a heart attack somehow, and their body was full signs of torture. But that only caused for more and more anger and furious against the regime. Then they reached to asking for toppling the regime. That's when the regime, just like they say, unleashed the beast.
Remembering the good days before my life changed, my past was bright, but my present was full of pain. I was on the right track, but now I'm full of chaos and disdain. All they show is hatred, when all I want to do is stand up for my rights. I'm feeling the pain, the anger and the fright. It's banging in my head like a hammer in the night. I've lost my friends and family because of this regime. Now I'm so upset, all I want to do is scream. All I have are nightmares, I've forgotten how to dream. The bombs, I just want to leave.
So we fled to Lebanon, seeking for a safer country. But during that 2 years, the Lebanese people and the Lebanese government wasn't the easiest people to deal with, especially for the Syrian, because we have old history with them. And for a continuous 2 years in Lebanon, it was full of stress and full of anger against us, the Syrian people, and full of racism. So we had to find a way to flee again to another country.
I fled just so I could live. But before I arrived, I might have died. Sometimes I've been treated like nothing, but I am something. I am something. I am one of you. I am a human. I tell you about the life of asylum seeker. Why didn't you understand? I've come so far to be free. Why am I treated wrongly when all I did was flee? In your eyes, could I even be equal? I live, I love, I breathe.
I was lucky to arrive in the UK and safe. I was moved around several cities between Cardiff and London for around 3 to 4 months. Then I was moved and settled in Leicester, where I stayed there for around 9 months. In the beginning, when I first moved into Leicester, I had nothing to do. I only stayed for a week in the room that they gave me, but I just couldn't stay there. I had to do something. So I started thinking about moving around, and the first thing came up to my mind is to volunteer. And my other roommates and other fellows used to go to an organization called the Race Equality Center. This is the organization that I choose to go and volunteer there, because the people over there were so friendly and they were so helpful for the new arrival and for people just like me. I volunteered there for many reasons. First, to improve my own language and just practicing it much better than back sitting and do nothing. Then I was able to help the other people who are just like me, new arrival, who know nothing about the regulation in this country, and help them and support them to engage with the society that we are all recently moved to. And in a way, at the same time, I'm helping myself to understand the regulation. So I was very pleased by volunteering there for helping myself and helping the other. I would hope that the war would finish. I wish the war would finish and maybe get back to Syria and rebuild it again. If not, I will just complete my career and see what are the courses or what are the fields that I can continue in my career. For instance, there are sustainability, zero carbon energy. There are so many fields. City, urban, there are so many fields that the more the knowledge you get, the more open mind and more field that you realize that you can specialize in it. But all of that will be in time, and hopefully I'll get more inspired by my tutor and my teachers in the university, and hopefully they will help me or guide me to the right path which suit me and suit my future.
Sylvanus.
Dada.
Latisha.
Markel.